Welcome to Your Story Matters. My name is Linda Olson. I'm the founder of Wealth Through Stories and Your Story Matters Masterclass. Our Masterclass series is where we interview experts about their story. Many entrepreneurs often remain stuck when things don't work out as planned, but Josh Steimle persevered, and after 13 years of hardships, doors began to open. Josh has achieved unbelievable accomplishments and now has offices in Hong Kong, Singapore, China, the UK, and the United States. Josh joined us all the way from China. Welcome, Josh, to Your Story Matters.
Thank you so much, Linda, for having me here.
Oh, you're welcome. So with your outstanding influence globally, tell us where you live now and why you chose to live there.
I live in Shenzhen, China. That's on the southern part of China. It's near Hong Kong. It's the third largest city in China. It's kind of the Silicon Valley of China. You've got Beijing, that's like Washington, D.C. Shanghai's kind of like New York. And Shenzhen's kind of Silicon Valley. It's where all the tech companies are. It's where all the entrepreneurship's going on.
Well, very good. So obviously with offices all over the world, why is it that you chose China?
The reason I'm here, most people think it's some sort of business related reason, and I'm getting business done while I'm here, but the reason we moved here is actually my wife and I are adopting from China, and a few years ago that turned into a conversation about, wouldn't that be great if we moved over there and our kids, our other kids that we already have, could have that experience and we could learn some Chinese and prep for this adoption. And so we up and moved a few years ago and just decided to have this adventure, and it's been fantastic. It's also been great for my business to open offices over here. So we've just been having a blast here.
Wow, that's quite an adventure. I really admire you for doing that. So tell us a little bit about your story. Here you are, such an accomplished man and have done so many things, but we know it's always about a journey and things don't happen overnight. So take us into your journey.
They sure don't happen overnight. I mean, anybody who looks at my story and says, oh, it was so easy for you, does not know the backstory, because any success that I've achieved has come out of a lot of failure. I started my business in 1999 as a college student, and I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm going to start a web design firm. It'll be great. It'll be easy. I'll be super successful and make a lot of money. And for the next 13 years, I failed my way forward. My business was successful enough that it kept me going, but it never really was successful the way it was intended to be. And I got into a lot of business debt, and I learned a lot of really hard experiences. And then in 2013, everything changed when I got the opportunity to write for Forbes magazine. This opportunity was dropped in my lap. I got an introduction from a friend, and I thought, well, this sounds like fun. So I started writing for Forbes and telling my story about all these challenges I had experienced as an entrepreneur and the failures I had been through and the lessons I had learned. And I started getting attention from that, and it started to build my personal brand. And then the magic thing was that I started writing about marketing, which is what I knew a lot about after running a marketing agency for 14 years. And once I started writing about marketing, then people started coming and hiring my agency, and things just took off and exploded. And that's what led to a book deal, and it led to speaking engagements around the world, and it led to my agency really taking off and growing. So all the success that I've been able to achieve really happened within the last 4 or 5 years, but there was a lot of failure and a lot of experience and a lot of learning. I feel like I got about 20 MBAs during those 13 years with all the failure I went through. So it took a lot of education, a lot of hard knocks to get to the point where finally I could look back and say, you know what, I just need to do the opposite of everything I've done, and I've got a recipe for success. And that's kind of what I did. And now things are really working out well.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that, because you know how often it's so easy we look at people who are very successful, and it's so easy to think, they've just arrived or were born that way. And we know that's not true. So thank you for sharing that. What would you say was absolutely the biggest transition or pain point for you?
Really, all my challenges that I've experienced have been me. It's always been me and my own failures. And the big transition was realizing that life doesn't happen to me, that my life is what I make of it. And that's something I always kind of believed and I gave lip service to, but it wasn't really part of my core, because back then, I remember in 2007, I remember where I was. I was sitting in the front area of our office. I was talking to our administrative assistant, who was a good friend of mine, Mark Browning. And I was sitting there saying, Mark, I've tried everything. Nothing works. I just have bad luck. All the wrong stuff happens to me. Nothing I do succeeds. It works for other people. They do the same thing. I'm doing what they're doing, but they're successful and I'm not. And it just seemed like fate was conspiring to make me fail. And I didn't know what I could change or what I could do. But it turned out there were some things I could change. I just didn't see it. I didn't know what they were. And once I opened up my mind a bit and I started looking at my ego and decisions I was making about the business that were driven by my ego and by pride and by wanting to appear to be somebody that I wasn't, I realized, well, gee, I'm spending a lot of money on office space that I don't really need. And I'm spending money on marketing things that are more about boosting my ego than they are about driving business results. And I have a bunch of employees that I'd really like to keep, but they're really not necessary for the business and they're dragging us down. And I don't have things set up the right way. And I'm not doing them a favor by keeping them around, and I'm not doing anybody else any favors. And so I started changing the business, and all of a sudden things started working. But it was really hard because it hurt my ego. It made me not look like the person that I had made myself out to look like. And that was the turning point for me, to just eat that humble pie and just say, you know what? I don't care what people think about me. I don't care about my image. I care about this business and what I need to do to grow this business and serve my clients well and serve my team well and make sure that we have a successful business that is good for the world and is doing something worth doing. And once I made that mental switch to turn off my ego and just focus on success, then I achieved success.
Isn't that interesting how it seems we always come to a place where we have to give up in order to go up? You had to let go of all that, and then you became what you really wanted to begin with, didn't you?
Right. Now, of course, I make it sound like I made the switch and it was easy, and then now I'm successful and I'm humble all the time or something. I struggle with this every day. I still struggle with my ego. I still struggle with appearances and doing stuff, and I'm still experiencing setbacks all the time and challenges. And so it's an ongoing struggle.
Yes.
But the real difference is that I kind of know where the struggle is and what my struggle is. I know what my weaknesses are and what I need to work on. And now I'm able to compensate for it. So one of the things that I've done is I've brought on partners, because I've identified where I'm weak. I've admitted, hey, I'm weak at sales. I'm weak at operations. And so I bring in partners and I say, hey, look, I'm bringing you in because I'm not very good at doing what I need you to do. I want you to do this. I want you to tell me what I need to do, what I'm doing wrong. And I'm going to go focus on what I'm strong at and let you take care of these weaknesses over here. And I have no problem admitting that I'm weak now in those areas. And so that's one of the big changes too, tactical changes that's really changed things.
Very cool. That is so wise. I've heard that for many years. Know who you are and find people who can become the strength that you aren't, to fill in those weaknesses. So that's great. What's some of your long-term goals? Where are you headed with all of this?
With MWI, I really want MWI to be a global, large, international marketing agency that does great work for great clients. Everything that I do goes to this ultimate goal, which is I want to make the world a better place. I think that's what we all want in one way or another. And the closer I can get to really changing lives and helping people, the better. So with MWI, I love working with companies that I feel like are changing the world. So there are a lot of clients that we don't take on because they're promoting products and services that I don't believe in, or that I'm just not that interested in. I don't feel like they're making the world a better place. So we love working with clients where you feel like this is a good client. They're doing good things. And that might be pretty simple stuff, but sometimes we get to do work with organizations like this one organization called Cure Blindness that has doctors going in and curing blindness in third world countries. Those are rare opportunities for us, but we love that because it makes us feel like we're part of that, improving the world. And the more that we can grow our company and work with great companies at MWI, we want to do that. Influencer Inc. is where I'm spending a lot of my time these days because I believe that most people in the world are good people. And if I can help people become more influential and spread their message and get the word out about their experience and what they know, then I'm making the world a better place by helping them make the world a better place. And so that's what's really exciting for me today, is to work with people, coaching and providing courses, and with my writing to say, here's how you can take the knowledge that's already in your head and get it out there and help people, serve people, make the world a better place, and make a living while doing it, which I think is really key, because if people are influencing or leading or getting their message out there, but it's on a part-time basis because it doesn't make any money for them, then they're only doing it on nights and weekends. So maybe it's a couple hours a week. But if they can turn that into an income stream and make it their living, then they can do that service, that influence full time, and the world is that much richer, that much faster.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That is very well said, with a lot of clarity. So I know you do a fair bit of speaking. How do you weave your story into your speaking? How do you use story?
Well, first of all, I try to only take on speaking engagements where they let me talk about my story. So there are a lot of speaking opportunities that come along that I turn down because they want me to speak about something that isn't my focus. And it's really tempting to take that, especially when they're offering to pay you, because you say, well, it's free money. I can go talk and I can talk about that. So it's hard to turn down those opportunities, but I try to only speak about personal branding and influence and marketing and PR and things that are related to building your personal brand and getting your word out there. So I take on those engagements, and then most of what I do is I tell my story the way that I'm telling it now, because I feel like that humanizes it and it makes it attainable to say, look, I'm nobody special. I don't have any special tools or coaches or mentors. This opportunity to write fell into my lap. I didn't think of myself as a writer before. I had a blog and I wrote stuff, but I wasn't a writer. I wasn't writing books. I didn't go to journalism school or anything, but I got this opportunity to write, and I started writing about what I knew, and I connected with an audience, and all these great things came from that. But anybody can do this. And so that's the story I try to go out and tell to people, is to say, look, if I did this, you can do this too. And if I've achieved any success from it, you can achieve that success and greater success than I've achieved. Most people just don't know where to start. They don't have the tools. They don't have the resources necessary, and that's what I want to share with people, is to tell them, hey, here's a roadmap. Here's how you can accomplish this and have a claim to the same success that I've achieved.
Wow. So you really use your story to empower others.
Right. Because I'm all about, I want to change people's lives. For me, I sell courses, I do coaching, I make money doing this. But what really provides the satisfaction for me is when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I read this article that you wrote a year or two ago about how to build my personal brand. And I went and I followed those steps. And now I'm writing for Forbes, or I got this book deal, or now I'm getting paid to speak. And it all started with this article that you wrote. When I get that kind of feedback, I don't care if they paid me anything or not, or I get any money from that. I'm just so excited that something that I said to somebody mattered and changed their life and put them on this trajectory. That's what gets me really excited. That's what keeps me going. Yeah, I've got to make money to pay the bills and everything, but what really keeps me going is hearing those success stories.
Yes, always that inner fulfillment. That's great. So, Josh, what gold nugget could you leave with our audience today, with our listeners?
The biggest tip that I can give is it's all about giving. The more you give, the more you get. If you want to get more, give more. I've seen this over and over again in my career, that when I was trying to take stuff and get stuff, and I was contacting people and developing relationships purely with the intent of what can I get out of this relationship, people sense that. People are pretty smart. They clue into that. They get that, and they see through that. And I still struggle with this today. I'm still a taker sometimes. And then I write some content and I look at it and I'm like, this is taking type of content. I'm not doing enough giving here. So I still struggle with this. But the effort that I make is to try to give value and give to people, because whenever I do, and I don't think about the return on that investment, I get so much out of that, and things happen that I never could have predicted. And so now I just try to go around giving, because when I do, I get more and I have a lot more fun. So if there's any advice I can give, it's get into this influence stuff, get into this thought leadership stuff, but do it for the service, do it for the giving, and don't worry about what you get, because the less you worry about what you get, you actually end up getting a lot more.
Love it. I'm sure you're familiar with the principle, given, it'll be given to you. And that's really what it's about. So speaking of giving, I know that you are offering a great gift to our audience. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So it's a PDF download. It's a roadmap on how to become a contributor to top business publications. So if you looked at people writing for Entrepreneur, Inc., Forbes, these magazines, and you've thought, man, how do I get into that? I wish I could do that. That would be great for my career or my business. I've got a roadmap that gives you the high-level steps that says, here's what you need to do to prepare your platform, to get ready to pitch, to network with editors, to think about who you're going to target. And it just walks you through these high-level steps so that you can get a frame of reference for what you need to be doing to prepare and to get ready and to pitch and get into these publications, and then keep your editors happy and leverage that position to grow your business or get ahead in your career. So I'm offering that download for free. Again, it's high level. It's not a book or anything, but it will give you some of those basic steps to get you started.
Probably something that took you 13 years to learn, right?
Right. It might have only taken me a few days to put together, but it took me decades to learn and get all that information.
Well, that's a huge gift. And we want to say thank you very much. And thank you for taking the time, getting up early and taking the time to join us today. Truly a pleasure talking with you. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you so much, Linda, for having me here.
You're very welcome.